Ever wondered how one man could have 6 wives, survive near-death experiences, and still have time to collect the biggest library of his time, all while ruling a kingdom? Well, meet King Henry VIII. This English monarch didn't just sit on his throne and order people around. Oh no, he was a Renaissance man in every sense of the word. He married not 1, not 2, but 6 times. It seems the saying, "the 7th time's a charm," didn't quite catch on in his era. And if you think that's impressive, wait till you hear about his encounters with the Grim Reaper's scythe. Spoiler alert, he dodged it more times than you can count on one hand. But don't let his love for matrimony and thrill-seeking fool you. This king had a serious side too. He was an avid book collector and had a library that would make any bibliophile green with envy. Now let's unravel the intriguing life of King Henry VIII, one chapter at a time. Did you know that King Henry VIII was not just a king but also a beer enthusiast? Yes indeed, this monarch had a deep love for the frothy beverage, and his passion for it was so profound that he altered the rules of beer production. Now that's a royal commitment to quality. Henry's reign saw the introduction of hops into English brewing, a move that revolutionized the taste and preservation of beer. This was a king who didn't just sit on a throne, he sat on a throne with a pint in his hand. One might even jest that his decisions were as varied as the ales in his kingdom, some light and refreshing, others strong and heady, leaving a lasting impression. And perhaps his love for beer even played a part in his numerous marriages. After all, they do say, in vino veritas, or in this case, in servitia veritas. If ruling a kingdom wasn't enough, Henry also found time to strum a few chords. Yes, he was a skilled musician. King Henry VIII wasn't just about beheadings and betrothals, he was about beats and ballads too. He was known to play multiple instruments, but his favorite was the lute, a guitar-like instrument. He composed music that's still being played today. Can you imagine? Sitting in the grand halls of the palace, the king himself filling the room with melodies. Now it's tempting to wonder if his musical talents played a part in his multiple marriages. I mean, who could resist a king who could serenade you with a lute? But let's not get carried away, it's likely his crown had a bit more to do with it than his chords. So it seems our dear King Henry was not just a ruler but a rocker too. Who knew? A king on the throne by day, a musician by night? Imagine having the biggest library in the land. Well, King Henry VIII didn't have to imagine. Yes folks, our multi-talented king was also an avid reader, with a library that was the envy of Europe. It was not just a collection of books, it was a testament to his thirst for knowledge and his appreciation for the written word. You might think that with all his royal duties, multiple wives and a fondness for the bottle, Henry wouldn't have time for reading. But oh no, he was a man of balance. It's said that he would retreat to his library, probably to escape the drama of court life, or maybe just to impress his wives with his intellectual prowess. You know, it's funny to think of this beer-loving, soccer-founding king as a bookworm. And speaking of love, did you know King Henry VIII founded the soccer team Arsenal? Yes, it seems our dear king had a keen eye for more than just ladies. He was quite the soccer enthusiast too. It's a rather amusing thought, isn't it? Imagine King Henry in all his royal regalia, dribbling down the field, dodging defenders and scoring goals. Arsenal, founded by Henry, remains one of the most renowned football clubs in the world today. It's fascinating to think that this man of literature, music, and ale also had a hand in shaping the world of sports. Perhaps after a long day of ruling, composing music, and regulating beer, Henry would strap on his cleats and hit the pitch to unwind. Nothing like a good game of soccer to take your mind off the stress of, well, being the King of England. From the throne to the field, King Henry VIII truly was a man of many talents. Now let's get to the juicy part. 6 wives, folks. 6. First up we have Catherine of Aragon, the loyal one. She was the longest reigning queen consort, but unfortunately she didn't bear Henry a male heir. That's a big no-no in the Tudor times, folks. Next in line we have the infamous Anne Boleyn. She was charming, witty, and unfortunately, accused of witchcraft. Henry, not being a fan of sorcery, ordered her beheading. Talk about a cut-and-dry relationship, am I right? Then came Jane Seymour, the only wife to provide Henry with a legitimate male heir. She was the golden girl, but sadly died shortly after childbirth. Henry was reportedly devastated, but not too devastated to stay single for long. In the 4th spot, meet Anne of Cleves. This marriage was more of a political alliance and ended in an annulment. Henry claimed she looked nothing like her portrait, a classic case of catfishing in the 16th century. Next we have Catherine Howard, who was young, lively, and a little too friendly with other men. This led to her untimely execution. It seems Henry didn't quite grasp the concept of forgive and forget. Last but not least, Catherine Parr. the survivor. She outlived Henry, eventually dying of natural causes. She was the one who got the last laugh, or in this case the last "I do." And there you have it, the many lives and loves of King Henry VIII. From loyalty and charm to political alliances and alleged infidelity, his marriages were as diverse as they were dramatic. It's a wonder how he found time to rule a kingdom amidst all the wedding planning. But hey, who are we to judge? After all, love, or in this case marriage, is a many-splendored thing, or is it a many-headed monster? Only Henry could tell.